evening. It's 6 o'clock on Saturday, July 16th, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. Albania's political leaders and the Ministry of Foreign Issues reacted today to the army coup attempt in Turkey, where more than 265 people are dead and around 1,500 are wounded, and some 2,800 soldiers are under arrest. President of the Republic of Albania, Bujar Nishani, has followed the developments over the last few hours in Turkey with great attention and great concern. The constitutional order was heavily affected by the acts to overthrow a democratically elected government by force. President Nishani strongly condemns these acts and any attempt to take power through violence. He expressed his full support to President Erdogan, the government, and for constitutional order in Turkey, with wishes for a fast return of public order in Turkey and hopes for the Turkish people to return to normal life, reads the media statement issued by the president. Through a press release, the ministry expressed full support for the democratically elected government, institutions, and rule of law. The ministry praised the role of Turkey as a close ally in NATO and a key country in the fight against terrorism. Turkey, a close friend and ally in NATO, is a key country in the fight against terrorism. It gives an irreplaceable contribution in tackling security challenges and is one of the solid pillars of the international order. The foreign ministries express their sincere condolences to the Turkish people and to the authorities for the people who lost their lives. We wish for a fast recovery to the wounded and for a rapid normalization of the country. We urge any Albanian citizens in Turkey to avoid areas affected by the riots, to follow the instructions of the Turkish authorities and the local media, reads the Ministry of Foreign Affairs reaction. The Assembly Speaker, Mr. Ilir Meta, expressed solidarity with the Turkish people and joined the international community's call for a calmed situation, a return to normality, and expressed support to the Turkish leaders and legitimate democratic institutions. We express solidarity with the legitimate Turkish authorities. I hope Turkey overcomes this situation with few costs. I hope there is no more bloodshed. The return of constitutional order is important for Turkey's and the region's stability. I join the international's call for a calm situation, said the Assembly Speaker. Prime Minister Rama also reacted to the army coup attempt in Turkey through a posting on his social accounts. The Prime Minister expressed his happiness that the coup was broken. I am happy for the people of Turkey and for the appreciated friend, President Erdogan. Turkey emerged successful from a very difficult night, reads the Albanian Prime Minister's message. The Albanian Democratic Party also condemned the coup in Turkey with this statement. The Democratic Party has followed the recent developments in Turkey with concern these past hours. The Democratic Party expresses support for the democratically elected authorities in Turkey, for democracy and the rule of law. Preservation of constitutional order and the restoration of peace and public safety are in the interest of all citizens of Turkey, its friends and partners, reads the DP's reaction. Prime Minister Rama has sent a letter to the Democratic Party chairman once again expressing his readiness to support any proposal made by the opposition if it is accepted by the USA and the EU. In the letter, the Prime Minister says that rejecting the reform would be a shame for our country in the eyes of the international partners. How can we do this to our country, to our people, and to the children of this country? I want to emphasize that I am ready to support any proposal that you will make to successfully pass this vital reform to save the country from the inevitable stigma and democratic regression in case of failure. Of course, any proposal must be acceptable to our strategic allies, the US and the EU. As the partners have publicly rejected your recent proposal, I am eagerly awaiting a constructive response from you. Time does not wait. This challenge is historic. In the letter, the Prime Minister refers to the US ambassador's statement and to the German high official statement, who both criticized the attitude of Albanian politicians regarding the judicial reform. Rama said that never before have the internationals spoken against the opposition directly, but according to him, this shows the exceptional importance of the judicial reform. Never before would the democratic world have spoken directly to the opposition here in our small country, yet harsh tones show the importance of the judicial reform is exceptional. not only for Albania. There is no doubt to me that this unprecedented commitment of our partners in this process is a matter of further strengthening of legality in Albania as an element that enhances the democratic stability of our country in order to increase security of the country where we live and of the region. According to the Prime Minister, what Albania risks losing by not approving the judicial reform is truly enormous. This is one of those stains that cannot be easily removed for a long time internationally and loses trust in the quality of the most important international relations of the country. Yesterday, the U.S. ambassador was tough with the Prime Minister and the opposition leader, to whom he made a unique proposal to hold a meeting on Monday and stay in the meeting room forever if they do not reach consensus for the reform. Democratic Party Chairman Basha reacted immediately to the Prime Minister's letter, stressing that the judicial reform requires seriousness and commitment, not political maneuvers. In his reaction, Basha suggests that the Premier should leave open letters and political games behind. He adds that the opposition's proposal is 100% based on the Venice Commission's recommendations, which the Democratic and Socialist parties, according to him, have accepted as the only guide. The DP chairman calls the Prime Minister to authorize Socialist Party negotiators and return to negotiations for a solution. According to him, the Democratic Party negotiators are willing to start negotiations beginning today. Kukan and Fleckenstein, two Albanian reporters in the European Parliament, are asking the political parties to make every effort to reach consensus for the judicial reform. Through a joint statement, the two members of the European Parliament demonstrate regret for the refusal of the hybrid proposal and require that the international monitoring operation have the role that the Venice Commission defines. Kukan and Fleckenstein say that international involvement will strengthen the credibility of the reform in the Albanian public eye and in the international community. We are following the latest developments about the justice reform in Albania very closely. We have supported this reform from its very outset, and we continue to support it, together by encouraging our respective political partners in Albania to find a sound compromise solution while seeking the highest possible standards for a comprehensive judiciary reform. We regret that the last compromise proposal of the international community was not accepted. Nevertheless, we are still convinced that the solution is within reach. It is the duty of the Albanian state to guarantee the rule of law for its citizens, and it is the responsibility of the political leaders in Albania to adopt a credible judiciary reform which will guarantee an independent and efficient justice system. We support the role envisaged for international monitoring operation to oversee the entire vetting process. In our opinion, it does not diminish the ownership of the Albanian authorities, which is essential. International involvement would strengthen the credibility of the reform in the eyes of the Albanian public and of the international community, and is in line with the recommendations of the Venice Commission. Having in mind the importance of this reform for the Albanian public, for a prosperous future of the country, and for Albania's progress towards EU membership, we stand together ready to help our political partners in Albania to reach the necessary agreement for adopting the reform. We strongly encourage political leaders in Albania to continue their talks in a spirit of goodwill, keeping in mind the main goal of this reform: establishing a credible, independent, and efficient justice system in Albania, the statement reads. The Bank of Albania notes that businesses are seeking loans mainly to cover their daily expenses and less for investment purposes. In the second quarter, the demand for loans remained unchanged, which negatively affected the overall economic situation and is creating insecurity among private companies, making them hesitate to require loans in order to expand operations. According to the Bank of Albania, during the second quarter of the year, large companies have shrunk the loan demand, while a growth has been reported by small and medium businesses. A recent Bank of Albania report on lending shows that the second quarter of this year saw almost no change in the demand for business loans. The bank reports increased loan demands for small and medium enterprises, but a decreased demand from large businesses. The Bank of Albania analyzed the factors which determine such a performance and estimates that business demands for loans are driven by the need to finance the working capital and investment financing. The Bank of Albania's policies and the lack of other options have also contributed towards higher loan requests. On the other hand, the macroeconomic situation in the country during this quarter is perceived to have had a negative impact on business loan requests. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.